This interview is brought to you by APB, Broadcast Asia 2017 and Ideal Systems.
Yeah, I mean the transition to IP is it's something we've discussed a few times today, and it's been good to hear some of the other responses, because I think it depends on which part of the world you're talking about. There's the transmission side, the output side, which has been IP for years. Let's face it, YouTube has been around for more than a decade now. But on the creation side, the content creation side, it's very difficult to say when you're going to actually get to IP, because some things already are IP and have been for years. Control systems, for example, have been IP for years. I mean, every device has got an IP address. But when you're talking about, well, I want to have a camera and I just want to plug one SFP into it and then it will connect to the whole network, I think that's a bit harder, and there's a few reasons for that. The first one is there are standards like SMPTE 2110, which are about to be ratified, which in theory will make everything work and connect. But you still then actually have to make those devices and test those devices and make sure that everything's actually going to then talk to each other. And there's a lot of work going in with interoperability labs. There's a lot of tests between AES-67, SMPTE 2110, NMOS, etc. But they're not quite finished yet. And then once they're finished, just getting the signal from one point to the other is only one part of the story. On top of that, you also have to have everything timed and synchronized so that when you change a video source, you don't have a black screen. That's one part. You also have to have a way of devices to actually talk to each other in an agnostic way to say, I am a camera, I have one video source. I'm expecting one video source for my monitor example. That is where systems like ANWR's NMOS is coming in, but it's not quite there yet. So we have those, and then on top of that, you have to have those different ways of actually doing stream switching. I've heard two completely different presentations on where the signal should be switched and where it should actually be timed today from two different manufacturers. So we haven't even decided that yet. I think the customers, though, know what they want. They want to have a system that is just as simple as SDI and MADI. I want to plug a cable in, it goes from here to there. It's simple. But to get there, I think will take a while. There will be some single solutions, for example, one manufacturer that will let you have the whole system, which will work. But definitely, if we're talking about I buy a camera from vendor A and a monitor from vendor B, and they're going to work together, I think that's probably still a while off. I think, like most things, all of these steps are going to be an evolution, not a revolution. So there'll be a step on each part of the way. And what we can't be doing is pausing investments now, pausing our designs until we say, well, when's the next best thing coming? Because there'll be a new next best thing every year, like every show basically. We had NAB a couple of weeks ago, we're going to have IBC in a couple of weeks, and this week, of course, Broadcast Asia. People are releasing new things all the time. So if you wait and say, I have to wait until everything is ready, it's never going to be ready. So the key factors are going to be build a system now with an end state in mind, but make sure that every part of that device, that system, is built of devices that can either be changed, say for example a software-defined device, something that has hardware and software that are separated, or in such a way that you can actually change those very small components instead of having large block components. So I think those are probably the key factors there, and of course paying attention to what's actually going on in the world, reading about the latest standards, how the ANWR tests are going, how 2110, the SMPTE 2110 tests are going, making sure that all of that is actually in your mind so that you can have a detailed conversation with your vendors, with your consultants, and with your integrators.
This copyrighted video of the Broadcast IP Interop Lab may not be reproduced or redistributed in any form without the expressed written consent of EdTech International Private Limited.